You're live. Is it live?
Naingia ndani.
Mbona YouTube?
Ndio nishaingia mara nenda studio. Mystery. Hey ladies. Hi Mystery. How you doing? Hey ladies. Hi Mystery. How you doing? Hey ladies. Hi Mystery. How you doing? Hi Mystery. How you doing? Just a minute. We're trying to fix the live here right now. A minute. We're trying to fix here right now. A minute. We're trying to fix here right now. Hi guys. Those who are joining us right now, we are trying to fix the live right now because we're also expecting some guests to join in. Right. Okay, let's see. Right. Please let us know if you can see us and if you can hear. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's turn the phone on portrait. Okay, do it right now. We are turning it on portrait right now. Just a minute. Okay. The receiver, is it? And then you can just move the light a bit. Just leave it like that. Guys, welcome to our first ever live. Right. Yeah. And we're so happy to have you guys here with us. And we promised that we'd go live for the first time. Yeah, when we hit 50,000 subscribers. And we hit 50,000 subscribers, I think last week, right? It's been 3 days now. Yeah, so let us know where you're watching us from. Let us represent your country with your flag. Yeah, and we'll hopefully try and guess which country you come from by the flag you'll post on the comments section. Right. So later on, we'll be having 2 guests, 2 queens, right? And I think a few of you have seen them on YouTube. Yeah. Right. So we're going to be having 2 guests. Right. And we just wanted to start by thanking you guys. And we were also wanted to shout out, right, our loyal fans. Yeah, we can't thank everybody because 50,000 is a family, all right? Right. Yeah, but we want to mention a few. Kevin Madden. We want to thank Silver Fox. Silver Fox, how are you doing? It's so good to interact with you guys live, right? Right. We see Gosi Africa has joined in, and we also see Queen Penguin. Thank you guys for joining in. Right. I also want to shout out Greg Williams. Right. And we also see someone on the comment section is asking about Chidima. Okay. I don't know in what sense you're asking, if you think we are, because a lot has happened. A lot has happened. Right? Yes. Wannabe world traveler, how are you doing? So guys, for those who are just joining us, my name is Maureen, right? And I'm Maren. And we are so excited to be hosting our first live with you guys. Yeah, officially this is our first live because we had gone live earlier, just once. But I don't know if you guys can remember the time when Kenya was having its demonstration against the finance bill. That was the first time we ever went live, right? But it wasn't like an official thing. It was just to show people what was going on the ground, right? So this is our first official sit down live. Yeah, so we want to give you the chance, guys, to engage with us, talk to us, let us know what you want to ask about us, what you've been wanting to ask us but you didn't have the chance, maybe because we've never ever gone live. Yeah, so today everything is on the table. We are here to answer all your questions. Yeah, and also for those who are new to the platform, the kind of content that we usually deal with mostly is all about social issues. Yeah, and we normally do reaction video and commentaries on social issues to do with racial discrimination and every other thing in between. Yeah. Yeah, so as we wait for our guests, we want to know, what do you want to ask us? What is that burning question that you've been wanting to ask us, so that today we can get to answer you, right? Right. We can put it on the table. Brown Skin, you're watching from Atlanta, Georgia, North America. You're very much welcomed, and we are happy to have you with us today, right? Right. Okay, so as we wait for our guests, guys, so you can tell us where you're watching us from. What time is it on your other end? Because here in Kenya, it's actually right now it's 10:11. Yeah, 10:11 p.m. Yeah. So it's at night. We understand that there are those who are just waking up right now. Right. There are those who are preparing to go to bed. Right. Yeah. So let us know. Let us know where you're watching us from. Drop your flag to represent your region. Right, because personally, as we come from Kenya, as many of you know, the city of Nairobi. Right. And I believe we do know a couple of flags. So you can drop your flag and you can try to guess it. But for America, it's quite obvious you know that one. Who doesn't? Yeah, UK and many countries in Africa actually, because we also have a lot of followers from Africa as well. Yeah. And the Caribbean as well. So the Caribbean, I think the flag we know from the Caribbean. Jamaica is quite famous. We did some content about Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, right, Barbados, and Haiti. So Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis too. Right. So you drop your flag if you feel like we might not know the flag of your country, and I feel like it's going to be quite exciting to mention. Yeah. Right. So as we wait for our guests to arrive, right, we'll be addressing some of your questions if you have any. Yeah. Right. Oh. Oh, wanna be a world traveler. I'd like to know where you're from, right? So wanna be world traveler is asking, where will be your first plane flight to be? So this is a very good question, yeah? Maureen and I have always wanted to visit Jamaica, so I feel like that would be the very, very first plane travels we plan for. Yeah. And here in Africa, the very first place we'd like to travel to, I don't know where it would be, but I feel like it would have been South Africa. In Africa. Yeah, in Africa. South Africa or maybe Ethiopia. Yeah, South Africa or Ethiopia. But outside Africa, we'd like to go to Jamaica. Start with there. Maybe. Right. And another thing, by the way, we've always wanted to visit America, right? It's still in our bucket list. But right now, knowing the things we know, you ask yourself, like, if you go safe, I know it will be safe, but also you ask yourself with the things that are happening around the world, you know? Right, right. Hi, Greg. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining the live as well. Yeah, we do appreciate you. Silver Fox, we see you in the house right now. Thank you so much for joining. Doreen, much love to you too. We appreciate you for joining. Leon, thank you so much for joining. Wanna be traveler, you come from USA, so you've been to Kilifi, I see. All right. Miss Cookie, I'm in what? Wilmington. I hope you're saying it pronounced right. Like that? Wilmington. Yeah. Wilmington, North Carolina. It sounds like a tongue twist, yeah, when you say it. Wilmington, North Carolina. Welcome very much. We are happy to see you. And J Red, I see you're asking to marry both of us. I wish you had a twin. Right. You could have talked more about that. Right. And then, you know, now the problem is that you want both of us. So personally, Maureen and I, we've always, okay, you can find some twins in Africa who want to marry the same man, right? Even triplets. Even triplets in, was it in Congo? Yeah, somewhere in Central Africa, there are triplets who married the same man. But for us, I feel like it's always been a personal decision. We don't want to marry one man just because we feel like we've been sharing a lot of things since childhood. Right. And we feel like when we get into a relationship or eventually when we get married, we want that is one thing we want to share that is separate, right? Right. I want to have a brother-in-law. Me too. Yeah. Right, right. So guys, as you join the live, I think one guest is ready. Let me just add her. Queen Penguin. Hi.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Let us know if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't know if you guys can be able to hear me.
Penguin, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I don't know if you can hear me.
Can you? You're laughing. Oh, someone is asking our age. Wanna be traveler? You're asking how old we are. I don't know if we should say it, because normally when people ask how old we are, it's either they're disappointed or they think either we might be too young, or I don't know, but it never goes well when we say our age. But I feel like we should just say it, right? No, I don't feel like we should say it. I don't feel like we should say our age, right? Okay. Hi, Queen Penguin. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you guys hear me?
Okay, so I don't know why we can't hear you.
Okay, probably I'm gonna have to disconnect this.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Oh, Silver Fox, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so guys, much. We are waiting to have another guest. We'll be having 2 guests on our show, Queen Penguin, and the other one, I believe you've come across their 2 channels, right? On the streets of YouTube, Queen Penguin and Esina Tukunda. Let me just see right now. Thank you guys so much for joining. Silver Fox, thank you so much for the super thanks. Right. Okay, let me help with this. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me or something? I don't know.
All right. Ralph, how are you doing? Hello, my sisters from my Virginia Beach. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so Queen Penguin, how about we just want you to introduce yourself to our audience and just tell them what you do, what kind of content you deal with.
Yeah, can you guys hear me in the first place? Because I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's a bit low, but I think we can hear you. Yes.
That's very interesting. I was trying to use
we can hear you.
For some reason. I was trying to use this, but for some reason you guys could not hear me, so I had to switch them off. But yeah, guys, it's good to see you. You all look gorgeous and amazing. And yeah, my name is Gracie. I'm from Uganda, and I do reaction videos as well, commentary about, like anything black.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, basically that's all that I do. Yeah, it's good to see you guys, and congratulations on your 50,000. To the people that are watching in, you all are welcome. We really appreciate each and everyone's support as always. Yeah.
Thank you. So guys, that's she's called Queen Penguin Uganda. You can just pass by her channel and you can consider subscribing to her channel and support her work. She does an amazing job on YouTube as well. And I have to mention she's also our sister from Uganda, right? So today we have our sister from Uganda, and we have Kenyans from Uganda. From Uganda. I mean Kenyans. Yeah. And then there's a video of penguins that we saw, and she covered a video on Black Americans coming back to Africa, and specifically they were relocating to Ghana. And we really liked that video, and that's why we decided to host her today, because the video was so emotional. Even so, she was about to tear up when she was doing the video. To be honest, I also almost teared up because I feel like Penguin, I feel like you're the best person to talk to us about this because you covered the episode, right? So what do you think? In your video we saw, I think we leave the link for anyone who wants to follow it, yeah? Right. So we saw there were Black Americans who are coming into Africa, and for some reason, people are normally, anything to do with Black people is normally misrepresented, yeah? So Black Americans coming into Africa, I feel like they already have a misconception about Africa. So those ones who have faith enough to come to Africa, they come to see or experience it for themselves. And some of them find a different, what do you call it? A different picture from what they were told, yeah? So Twin Penguin, I'd like to ask you, why do you think in your video, because Black Americans got emotional when they got to Africa, why do you think this is? As an African's point of view, of course. Right.
Ah, wow, that is an interesting question and a very, very good question. I do think there's a disconnect between the Black people in America or in the diaspora and people on the continent and the way the continent has been represented. And honestly, I always tell people that online or internet is not a real place. So you can go running with a lot of lies that you see on the internet, but when you reach the real place, you experience something in real time with real people, and you just get that physical connection with the people. So I think the reason as to why they react the way they react is because of the things that they have been believing for decades, the stereotypes, the lies, and all of that. And reaching on the ground, it is totally different. So it is like a shock. But also, I feel like going to a place where you don't know how things are going to be like, and then you find and you are met with this exceptional, unconditional love. It is really overwhelming, especially if you are not used to this. I must say that our people in the diaspora are not used to being loved the way that we love ourselves or other people or visitors when they come here. So all that is really, really new, because at some point in the States or in the diaspora, when someone is overly friendly, overly welcoming, you probably think they want to get something from you. So it is very overwhelming for people to welcome you, open their hearts, open their homes, give you gifts without expecting anything. So that is a shock in the first place, because they are not used to that. In the States, you work for everything. Everything that you get, you have to work for it. So when you come over here and people are nice, they are lovely, they are welcoming, you're like, what do they want from me? And when it takes time and you realize this is nothing about what they want from me, they genuinely care, they genuinely love me, they genuinely are happy to actually see me. That, that experience is always overwhelming, even if it was you going in the States where you do not have any expectations, and you meet people and they love you, they welcome you, you will feel the same way. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to ask, being that what you cover in your content here on your YouTube channel, have you ever gotten the chance to meet, like, let's say a Black American in real life? Because right now, as I am understanding, there's a lot of migration going on, and there's a lot of Black Americans who are coming into Africa. Like, I can say personally here in Kenya, we have a lot of them. We personally have gotten the chance to mingle with some of them. Have you gotten the chance to mingle with the Black Americans in Uganda?
Oh yes, oh yes. Quite a few of them, and the interactions have always been amazing. I it's really, really interesting and amazing. I've met quite a few of them, and I think the first thing they will tell you is they love it here. They love it here. Some of them, when they are going back, they literally going back on that plane, you see them tearing up because they don't want to leave. So yes, I've quite interacted with many of them. They are here in Uganda, and I understand that you do have a lot of them even in Kenya. You do have a lot of them in, you know, Ghana, in Nigeria. So there's quite an exodus that is happening right now, and I think my interactions with them has always been amazing.
Yeah, you know, we also had a family friend who relocated to America. I think it was Houston, Texas, yeah, about a while back. And even then, when they'd come back to Kenya, the time when they have to leave Kenya, we used to feel how difficult it was for them to go back, as we didn't used to understand, because here in Kenya, people feel like the green land is in America, you know. So we didn't used to understand that part of why they didn't want to go to America until we started covering these types of episode, you know. And another thing also, it's also almost funny how Black Americans will come into Africa and talk about how we Africans have it better on the motherland, yeah. But then I feel like Africans don't totally understand this concept, because when you tell somebody an African this, let's say for example, if you're an African diaspora going to back to America, for Africans it's funny that they think their fellow Africans who come back into the continent tell them this in order to deter them from going back to America, right? And then I see there's a subscriber of ours, I'm trying to find that comment, but I think it's lost. Yeah, I found him. Miss French Twist is saying Black Americans romanticize Africa. It's unrealistic. So Gracie, would you agree with his comment that Black Americans romanticize Africa so much?
I do agree to, you know, to a certain extent, because I mean, there's the way they see the continent, and the expectations sometimes can be a lot. But at the same time, I feel like it is okay to romanticize, you know, the continent, because I mean, what don't we have over here? We have everything. It's just that, you know, we have a long way to go to make everything work. So I do believe that a lot of them romanticize their expectations, sometimes can be too much, expecting Africa or some African countries to be like America. And sometimes when they make it here, they get shocked that it's nothing like what America is like. But I do believe that there are also other beautiful parts about Africa that they fall in love with, and that's not for all. Some will fall in love with it, some will not, and I think that is okay. So, but I do believe that a lot of them romanticize with the continent. Some of them have expectations with, especially with women, in terms of getting women. Some of them expect to find, you know, a totally traditional woman, or a woman that is going to be able to be with you when you want to have more than, you know, one wife or something like that. So they get shocked to find out that women over here are not going to be okay with that. And many more other things. I think there's that bit of romanticization, but at the same time I feel like it is also okay, because you don't know what to expect. Sometimes you have to let the atmosphere teach you what to expect, instead of you having, you know, these preconceived, you know, thoughts and perspectives about the continent. That's why for me, I always say, before you romanticize and say, you know, it is like this and that, come first and get a feel of what it is like, because if not, then you're going to run with a different idea of what the continent is like, instead of what it really is in reality. Yeah.
Right, right. And I feel like there's an upside to this and there's a downside to this, because while on social media, the media or mainstream media, let's just say, you find that they either show the extreme of Africa, because Western medias obviously won't show anything good about Africa, right? So then they show the extreme of Africa that makes people be scared about coming to the continent. And on the flip side, you find that YouTubers who do this kind of travel vlogs or whatever, they show the best parts of Africa to a point where you say it's
you
kind
think
of
like
feels,
you think like when you're coming to Africa, it's just a land of milk and honey, and you don't prepare adequately for what you find on the ground. Cause as per my observation, I feel like the African Americans who've come here with a plan and with people on the ground who are ready to show them, they've actually achieved a lot, and most of them are actually more successful than even the indigenous Africans or who live in the ground, but others who are not prepared become interesting people. Sometimes you find unexpected situation like con men who eat your money and they eat it real well, you know.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it's only Africa that has con men. Con men are everywhere. I hear even London has the worst case of pickpockets, you know.
So just do your research before coming to Africa and know everything you have to know for in terms of expectations, because as I've said, the worst thing about the media and social media as well is that you either get two extremes, either the very good ones that don't show you the true reality of majority of the people on the ground, or you get the other extreme where Western medias are only showing you the worst. So Gracie, just give us a moment. I feel like I want to appreciate those who have just joined our live, and I also want to read a few of the comments. Eugene Docu Stories, thank you so much for joining. How are you doing?
Yeah, I see also Gracie D has joined.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining the live.
LP Lions is asking, do you guys have a background in journalism? For us, we'll speak for ourselves. I don't know if Gracie you have, but for us, we do have a background in journalism. Is actually what we did in campus, journalism and mass communication. Gracie, what about you?
No, I do not have any background in journalism. I am a professional social worker and administrator. So basically, that's what I am. But I have passion in doing this.
Oh, nice. All right, that's very lovely. Yeah. So let's keep on reading comments.
Some more comments.
Ms. French Twist is saying a lot of Black Americans go to Africa only to end up leaving, and I feel like this deserves like a whole life for its own, or a whole episode on its own. Yeah, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think I also wanted to say the same, because you're stealing my thoughts from my head. So I wanted to say the same because I feel like this deserves another live with a Black American who's been to the continent, so that you can talk to them, because there's some who've actually ended up living, as Miss French is saying, and others have stayed. So it would be better for them to talk on themselves.
Yeah. So I think we'll find some people, some Black Americans on the continent, and if you might know some, you can link us up with them so that we can get to talk, because I do believe a lot of us will benefit from these conversations, right? So yeah, I see our other guest has joined. Esther, how are you?
Oh my God, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm crazy, y'all. I'm crazy. Hi, guys. Hi, ladies. Hi, gentlemen, viewers and subscribers to the Twins Hangouts. My name is Natkuda. Guys, I'm so happy to be here. I like chaotic things. So I'm so sorry.
We can hear you, girl. Our end is a bit slow.
Yeah, we can hear you. Our end is a bit slow for some reason.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry for the late coming. I was busy working.
Mm-hmm.
Gracie knows what I was doing, but then here I am.
Yes. Welcome in, Esther.
Oh
I don't know, for
Lord.
some reason it is kind of slow, but I wish we could all be syncing at the
Just
same
a
time, but
minute.
I don't know.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
welcome in, Esther. You look amazing.
yeah.
Oh, child, thank you.
Oh yeah, it's okay. So today we were just talking to
Mm.
yeah guys. So guys, please take a minute to go and subscribe to our sisters from another mother. Yeah, you can subscribe to Queen Penguin's channel, and you can also subscribe to Esther Natukunda's channel. We've linked it on the comment section. I hope you guys can still hear us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Okay.
can. I'm checking out the comment section.
All right. So Esther, just tell our
Yes.
audience what you do, a bit of a background on what you do, because you're also a creator, right?
Oh, guys, I'm a creator. You know, I was just sitting here listening in and you guys saying how you did mass communication. And I'm like, so am I the only one who is uneducated here?
Mhm.
Don't even think
But
about
anyway,
it.
guys, my name is Esther Natkunda. What I do, I like content. If I see something nice on the internet, I talk about it. That is why, like, my channel is very chaotic. And what I do on a daily basis, I do content. I host the Pan African dating show, and yeah, now I think I am moving into the footsteps. I think that's how sophisticated people say. You know how you meet people that are like on a higher note than you, and you're like, yeah, guys, I'm literally following your footsteps. So I feel like I'm following in the footsteps of like what the twins are doing because I always check you out, guys, what you're doing. I'm like, yes, I love that.
Thank you so much. You're so humble. Guys, just take a
Thank you.
minute to subscribe to Natukunda's channel and also Queen Penguin's channel. We promise you won't regret. They
Mm.
also have some very nice educative episodes they normally do on their channel. And I feel
Mm.
it's gonna be beneficial for you. So Esther, we were talking about with Gracie before you came in. We were talking about Africans and Black Americans in the continent. And I know you're aware that right now I feel like it's the period of exodus where you find a lot of cultural exchange between Black Americans and Africans. Right. And furthermore, you find that Africans, they're the ones who are traveling in large numbers to go abroad, and as well there are also Black Americans who are traveling to come back into the continent to experience the continent for themselves, right? So
Mm.
for the conversation, yeah, I would like to ask you, both of you, what do you think? Because I feel like there's some kind of, should I say, division, so between Black Americans and Africans, but it's not in terms of, because on the internet, I feel like it drives the narrative about Africans, diaspora wars, exactly, between Black communities, yeah. And on the ground, I don't quite think that that is the case. Yeah, because even if different groups have misunderstandings, I don't feel like it's in the magnitude that the internet, portrays it. So, like, I would like to ask you, yeah, what since you're already in Uganda, have you ever experienced Black Americans in Uganda?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Yo, guys. Oh my God. And I hope I'm just gonna give you all a PSA. That's how it's called, yeah. PSA, disclaimer, y'all don't judge me. These are just my views. So I have met African Americans in Uganda, of course. Actually, my first encounter with an African American, I was in Dubai. And I'm just gonna say it clear cut, it was not good because he gave me the first picture. You know, y'all know how foreigners come to Africa, and the first thing that they see, that's the impression that they're gonna have about that country, right? Or the first people that they meet. So for me, the first African American I met was in Dubai. I was at a fashion show, and let me tell you, he dated my friend, and he asked my friend out
All
on a
right.
date. And they went on a date at Burj Khalifa. And let me tell you, he could not even pay for water. Yeah, I was so heartbroken. I was like, no, brother. No. I didn't expect this. But anyway, didn't think so much about that because, of course, I've had very good encounters with African Americans. Like now in Uganda, the Pan African dating show. My boss is African American. For some people that know O'Shea Duke Jackson, African American, changed my life, gave me a platform, lovely. So definitely there's some good people and not so good people. We can't say bad people because I can say someone is not good to me when they are good to another person. But overall, I feel like there's still a divide between African Americans and Africans. Number one, from my point of view, experiencing it firsthand, because apart from my boss, I meet African Americans almost every month, right? And I think I am realizing, child, this is gonna sound so wrong, but yeah, don't judge me. I just want to say things really the way they come in my mind. I have gotten an observation of some African Americans having a white people mindset about Africa. Like, I like to call it the colonizer. I feel like, please, in my own words, I have come to realize that sometimes I end up saying to myself, African Americans are becoming the new colonizers to the Africans. Of course, not to that extent, but because of the white mindset, the colonizer mindset that they have towards Africans, right? You find African Americans that entirely see themselves as God under the sun of Africa, and Africans need to bow below them. Like, you must serve them, you must understand they're from America, you must understand they are of a higher status, you must understand they have an American passport, you must understand they speak better English than you must understand they got a better currency than yours. Child, and that looks very white to me. And then you find African people, the crooks that we are, not all of us, but majority of Africans are crooks when they see foreigners. When we see African Americans, we're like, okay, they are no whites. Because actually we respect the whites. But I've seen in African society, we do not have that level of respect towards African Americans because they seem black. Right?
Probably
So
not simply to African Americans, but basically to ourselves because we see them
yeah.
like us.
Yeah. So I have seen in instances where African people, literally in Uganda, because I'm Ugandan, I live in Uganda. I've seen it with Ugandans. Ugandans don't see African Americans as whites. Of course, they shouldn't. But in my head, when I think of America, I never thought of differentiating between African Americans and whites. Of course, there's a very huge difference, skin tone, lifestyle, and history. But when I think of an American, I think about an American, whether black, white, or Chinese, or whatever. But then I've realized in Africa, we have that division. Yes, we understand you're African American, but we still want to robe you like a fellow black person. We still want to treat you like a fellow black person. Of which, yes, we should treat you nicely as a real black person, right? But I feel like African people, we kind of like have that bias towards African Americans as well. That, oh, you're from America, you live with the colonizer, so you gotta have more money. Then it opens more doors to that Black American who is in Africa to be prone to being robbed, and prices go higher and mistreatment. You understand such things that I'm saying? Yeah, so there is that balance where I feel like it's just not giving, but as well, I think this is why I love what we are doing. I'm just new in this game, but I love what we're doing because for me, I learned this from Debure, and then I found Jean doing it, and then Grace is doing it, and then I found you ladies doing it, and I've gotten to realize we are the majority because a lot of the people that content that we're doing, there's so many people, I will speak the truth, most especially in Uganda, that don't do those things. They got no knowledge of these things, right? Like literally, people would care less about the history of African Americans, or they would actually care less about knowing what African Americans are. What people on the ground literally think of African Americans is hip hop. Do you know Lil Wayne? yeah, thing why people when they look at us, they be like, "Oh, do you speak to Madiba?" Because they see us under the umbrella of white. Even African people, we be like, "Hey,
See, Gracie
yeah,
has
Grace."
something to say.
Yes, I because I had Esther make some point which is very valid to say that Ugandans or Africans do not really care that much to know the history of Black Americans, and this is not just about Ugandans, but basically the entire continent of Africa. We've been brainwashed to take the wrong history of our oppressor and we ignore our
Right.
own history. So it's not just us because we are not interested in knowing, but it's because we've been lied to. We have believed lies, and to a point where we don't want to know anymore. Now the truth, we discard it and just be like, these people are just pretending, but we don't know, we ourselves, we are in an entire tragedy because we've been lied to ourselves. None of what we know
Mm,
about our history is really our history. This is the oppressor's history. That is what he wrote about us. You understand? Anything that was
Yeah.
found or about us, whatever that was found here, they made sure that they destroy each and everything. So they give you an identity. That's the reason as to why we don't know nothing about African Americans. Some of us
yeah.
are
Right.
right now doing the work, but it's not because our people are not interested. I speak to a lot of Ugandans and ask them what do they think of African Americans or Black people or the Black diaspora, the Caribbeans, because guys, I don't want us to forget that when we are talking about African Americans, we have the Caribbeans, we have the Afro-Brazilians, we have the Dominicans, right? And no African know nothing about it. So most of the times when I ask these questions, I'm like, what do you know about these people? They're like, I don't know. And then they bring you a little bit of history that they know. And with what I have gathered as an individual, I'm like, but it is like this. Did you know it is like this? And they're like, oh, really? I didn't know that. So you see that they are actually very much interested in knowing these people after you tell them something interesting about them. But before they get to
Mm,
know a bit of their history, they they literally have nothing, about them. And because you don't know anything and because you do not have the exposure of these people coming to the continent, and even when they come, you do not get a chance to get exposed to them as much as you get exposed to the white tourists or the white people that come as charity or volunteers and stuff like that. So it becomes really, really hard. So I realize that when you tell our people and be like, this is how it is. And I think what we are doing right here is the most important thing. That's why for me, I don't just put videos out here, but I even do the work. And I know you women, you queens out here, you're doing the same thing. So it's not because our people are not interested. It's not because they don't want to know. No, it's because the brains themselves are sick. They need to be healed. How can you heal someone when you are not healed yourself? How can you tell or know the truth when you yourself don't even know the truth? You understand? How can you be interested in knowing something when all you believed that this that I know is the truth? When in actual sense, all that you have believed is a lie. And
And
the
I
most
want.
interesting part is that even when the whiteys, or I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this. Even when the whiteys come here, they literally put more concrete to the lies, right? They pretend to
Right.
be nice. That's why you see a lot of Black people worshiping whiteness over here. They pretend to be good. They are the volunteers. They are the ones that are doing charity and all of that. But the Black African does not even have any idea of how these people are treating Black people in America. How do you pretend and tell me that you love me, but the same people that look like me in your country, you treat them like bastards? You understand? So it's
Yeah.
the lies that they did not just leave the lies here, but even when they come back, they continue building on that lie.
that's true.
And mhm. Yeah, and
Go
the
ahead,
saddest
you
thing
guys.
is, pardon?
No, you guys go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I was saying the saddest thing that I feel like is happening is that across Black communities, or should I say melanated people, what we have in common, I feel like,
is that everywhere you go where you find that there's a dominating population of melanated people, the one thing we all have in common is the image we have of the white man, you know. And I'm like, how comes in Africa, how comes in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, how comes in places where we have majority melanated people, why is it that Africans, a big population of us, right, do not know the struggles that Black American went through and are still going through, right? At least the extent of it. And my big question to you guys is, do you think, as an African continent, an African people, do you think Africans are ready to have this conversation right now?
Yes. Yes,
Mm.
me, I do believe it 100% with all my chest. Africans are ready. If you see the conversations that we are having right now, we are literally having uncomfortable conversations. These are very uncomfortable conversations. But all of us are willing to confront this. And I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. No, sometimes we will have to rub each other the wrong way because of the ignorance that, is inhabited in us, right? But I think Africans are
Right.
open to this conversation. And it's not just about Uganda. I've seen a lot of people, you from Kenya, we have Eugene, we have Esther, we have Ndagira, we have people from Ghana, literally from the entire globe. I see Africans are now ready to have the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think let's not underestimate the power of one person knowing. Y'all, let me tell you, I am no racist, but I must confess, if there's something called being racist to your own people, I think I was. And I
Okay.
know this is gonna sound crazy because 2 years ago, you will never tell me nothing about African Americans. I just didn't like them people. I tell you, I didn't have no time for them. I'm friends with Nagira. She used to tell me like she could literally want to tell me about them because she studies their history. I'm like, I don't care. But
And
I don't know.
where stemming from?
Sorry,
And where was that stemming from?
where was that stemming from? It's because now this is where we go back to them whites. Not even to them whites. I feel like not even on a daily basis. In my head, as Matkunda Esther growing up, I know one thing. African Americans, they can sing, play basketball, and rob and and smoke and baby mama and harass. That's what I see on social media. And yeah, let me tell you, I know it's gonna sound very ignorant because it's coming from Esther Natkunda. I tell you, I'm a changed woman. But this goes for her to tell you how literally people think on the ground. Everything that we see on TV, when I tell you, I've reached a moment where I actually don't blame these people because when the whites have fed them this picture of, "Yeah, when you go to Africa, you're just gonna find these kids that have like flies on their nose. It's like, "Yeah, so don't go to Africa. Take your money that you have worked so hard for in America and go to Thailand instead of the motherland because in Africa they sleep on the streets. Lions are gonna be chasing you." I tell you, it's right. Even as African people, we have that bias. Me here, I was like, these people are just so aggressive for me, and that's on TV. I've never met no American in my entire life, but I've already put a boundary. I don't like these people. It just took me to see that you're doing content about African Americans. That's just my friend. Sometimes she'll be recording when I'm saying, and I was hearing, and I'm like, yeah. Until one time I went and watched the videos and started like watching other people, and I'm like, oh, I've been late to the party. I need to see the light now. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's not
One thing that
underestimate
Esther
these
mentioned.
conversations. Yeah.
No, no. Are you done, Esther? I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh, go
So
ahead. I'm done.
one thing Esther mentioned was the fact that all that we see is on the media. And I think it is time for us to realize that America is one of the most, it's very good at marketing itself out, right? So when it
yeah.
comes to the marketing strategies about America, They are very good at marketing themselves out there. That's the reason as to why we on the continent, when we end up in their country, we get shocked to see that the reality is totally different from what was sold to us. You understand? So America is very good at selling a very beautiful, glamorous picture. That's the reason as to why you see a lot of our people copying every culture that comes from the West. You understand? But when it comes to America selling the other countries out there, they are going to sell it negatively. You understand? So don't expect them to give you a picture, a very beautiful, glamorous picture about Africa. And I'm not saying that Africa is perfect. And when I talk about Africa, I'm speaking about all the countries that are within, right? So Africa is not perfect, but there's an exaggeration, right? When they are selling you the other people, and when they are selling you the culture about Black Americans, the hip hop, the whatever, that ghetto, whatever. I'm not, guys, don't get me wrong, okay? All I'm trying to say, because out of the ghetto, that is where the stereotypes come from. The stereotypes that we believe about Black Americans or Black people or the Black diaspora or the Black Jamaicans, that's where we get whatever that we believe. And this is because of the strategy they use of how they market. When they market themselves, them palm colors, it's a different, dimension. It's a different perspective of the world. That is the reason as to why you realize when we want to get married to whiteys, everything is supposed to be whitey. When they ask you about your own people in America, you're like, those are gangsters, those are ghetto, those, this and that. You understand? So you realize it is a strategy to keep the gap between us really wide, that is so hard to bridge it. Because we Africans over here, and the way we are raised, you're raised to be a good person, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be this. And when your mama hear that these Black Americans are doing this, they'll be like, no, that's not what you're supposed. But the thing is, don't we have great Black people in Caribbean, in America, that are doing amazing things, all the inventions that we are enjoying right today that have been stolen from them? They don't talk about that. This is a strategy to keep the gap big, And I think it's time we see through this. It's a time for us to tear down these curtains of, the mainstream and get to the real nuggets of our people. Because our people, whether in Africa and, wherever they are, we are great people. And I'm not saying we are all good and we don't have, bad things and evil. That exists everywhere. So is it in the palm-colored communities. But people don't want to talk about that. You want to forget about people that came and plundered and divided, unalived, and took everything. But then now you're smearing them with, that, Vaseline to make them look so good. But then your own people, they are the evil ones. This is the strategy. It's a marketing strategy. They give you and they feed you what they want you to feed on. And once you feed on that for the longest, it's going to change you. And it's going to, change your perspective of how you look at everything. And at some point, you realize that we see the world in a way they have conditioned us to see it.
And I want that. Okay. Natkunda, go ahead.
Not me acting like I'm in class. Okay. Just adding on that, I just didn't want this to skip my mind, guys. Let's not underestimate the power of familiarism. You guys, English is not my mother tongue. I'm African. Don't judge me. African people, I've realized one thing about African people. We relate with what we are familiar to. We see white people every day in our countries. So we relate to them. It's easy. They are lovable. And we barely see our brothers and sisters from the diaspora on the continent. So please, me, I will not cease to beg you people, if we want to break these generational curses of colonialism and stereotyping each other, African Americans, Caribbean people, come to Africa. Because the more African people we are familiar with you, the more we get to know you and love you actually, and spread the message. Me, if I didn't meet African Americans in Uganda, would I have the leverage to even care about talking about them? No.
Mm. Yeah, and I feel like it's important both of you mentioned that some of the more negative stereotypes we were told about African American stemmed from us, the media we consumed, right? Because here in Kenya, it's also the same thing, and it's the same thing we used to say back when before we started doing this type of content for us to also educate ourselves, right? So we used to say that a lot of the negative connotations we had about Black Americans mostly was from the movies and how they were portrayed basically. And then Natukunda, what you said about, we tend to, I think, align ourselves with what we are used to more than what we are not used to. A while back, right now things are kind of changing, right? So a while back, a lot of foreigners whom we used to see here in Africa were white people. And this being, they've also portrayed themselves as angels, you see. And African Americans, most of them never used to come in the continent a while back. At least these days, some things have started changing. Yeah, in Nairobi, actually, I came across some type of content on TikTok, and there was this Kenyan girl who was talking. She's Nairobi, and she lives in Nairobi, right? And she was talking about how, of which I feel like it's both negative and positive. But she was talking about how when you come to Nairobi, people have, what did she call it? There's a name she used. People are substitutes of Europeans and Americans to Nairobians, not the whole of Kenya. Not the whole of Kenya, just Nairobians. They are a substitute of Americans and Europeans. And she was saying the reason for that was because, Natukunda, you're dying with laughter. It's like you know this term. And they were saying this is because when you come to Nairobi, some people have assimilated the Western culture so much that even when they try to go back to their traditional practices, it's so westernized that there is nothing African about their traditional practices. And you find that a lot of it in Nairobi. And that's why in some of our episodes, when we talk about the best places for Black Americans to visit, Nairobi is always one of the consideration, because you find there's a lot of Africans who right now have educated themselves and are learning the culture of Black Americans, the culture of other people outside Africa, you understand? So, okay, I'd like to ask, because as I feel like in this live, we were meant to also apologize, right? Because there's an interview we did back then, and I feel like it's always good to move in transparency, and we wanted to acknowledge the matter, right? Yeah. So there was a few of our subscribers have brought up the point that long before we started doing reactions, we used to air our views about Black Americans via the lens of the media and how we saw them on TV. You get basically what you knew about Black Americans. But you know, as I tell you, 2 years ago, I don't think Africa has been experiencing that migration we were talking about, and but it's mostly used to be white people, right? Yeah, and also the social media boom, and as we usually say, thanks to TikTok right now, a lot of Africans have a deeper understanding of what goes on in Black America. Yeah, and can actually mingle one-on-one with Black Americans, right? So before the booming of the internet and social media, before we could learn for ourselves, because we normally say Africans don't necessarily go out to look for this information, so they don't know what to look for, and they don't even care to look for it, if you get what I'm saying, you know. So there's an interview we did that's on the internet. I'm sure most of you in the search you can find, where we were being asked what we thought of Black Americans and what we knew about them, right? And before we educated ourselves, we also held some ignorant thoughts about them because of media and not social media, but the media, mainstream and movies. And what we used to see here in Kenya was what you guys in Uganda were being shown. Yeah, they were being promoted as people who are promiscuous, and in their community is where a lot of drug peddling and education, stuff like that. Yeah. And then we also used to do some content about Jamaica, and we realized the stereotype it ran deeper than actually you can think, and that is something that people need to unlearn. Because when you go to the Jamaican part of it, you ask people, what do you think about Jamaicans here? And I'm sure a lot of them were interested because they know about Africa. A lot of Jamaicans have educated
They actually know
about
a lot about Africans
than Africans
do.
themselves. Right. And you find that the stereotypes that Africans hold about, and I found that it was also in Uganda, the meaning is the whole of Africa, yeah. What they knew about Jamaica was they smoke, because of the music videos. So you see Vibes Cartel and whatnot. And then another misconception Africans used to have about Jamaicans was that the twerking culture, they felt like that was like everybody's culture and
Like
everybody's way of life.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until we started doing these videos and we're like, wait, why is it that black people we have these misconceptions? Because Jamaicans came onto the platform and re-educated. They corrected the stereotypes.
Lot of the misconceptions.
Right. So I feel like I also have to apologize because before we educated ourselves, we used to be part of those people. And I normally say, like, what I love about our platforms is that, because for me personally, I aim to connect black people around the globe. It doesn't matter if you're Caribbean, it doesn't matter if you're American, it doesn't matter if
you're African.
Exactly.
So long as we all can have an understanding and correct each other on some of these issues that we all have so wrong about each other,
Right, and re-educate. So I want to ask the two of you, yeah, what do you think is the steps that we can take moving forward to bridge the gap between Black Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans? Because there's a wide bridge between these all these communities.
Wow.
Before you answer, let me just acknowledge some people who come in. We see Fred from Africa is in the house. Thank you so much for joining the chat. And Fred is passing his greetings to you, Esther.
Hi.
We also see Jamaican in Zambia has also joined the live. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ezekiel from Venezuela, thank you so much for joining the live. Yeah, and so you can just answer the question right now.
I think the first step is what we are doing right now. Normalizing these conversations, talking about these things. I know a lot of people, there's someone that asked in the comment section that if Black Americans were not in the picture, where would all the African content creators be and what would they be doing?
That's a good question. So if Black Americans I feel like we'd still all be talking about issues that affect the Black community, because if Black America weren't in the picture, it means European Americans wouldn't also be in the picture. So we would be a Black community discussing each of our own issues. But still, I don't know.
Yes.
But personally, I say, because I also there was an episode we did, and somebody asked us, why is it that we cover a lot of Black American content here? And what I told the subscriber was that we have a lot of African subscribers, we have a lot of Black American subscribers, we have a lot of Caribbeans. So our aim is to connect all these groups here and to try, because my motto is
each other's struggles.
Yeah,
and all don't come from the same place.
Yeah, we all don't come from the same place. Yet I normally say we all sort of have it's all connected, you understand? So Black Americans go through what they go through, and Africans in the continent go through what they go through. Right now,
we're all silent about what we're going through.
Exactly, you won't really know the picture, and you really won't know because there are things that are happening in America that also affect Africa, you understand? So right now, if I go into TikTok and I see a Black American complaining about white supremacy and how it has affected their community, do you not think in South Africa there's people who need to come out and speak about how having a population of white people in their country is affecting their country? And then how then are you going to know what's going on in South Africa if nobody
eventually get to East Africa, like Kenya, for example?
Yeah, like right now I'm tempted to mention an issue about, but that one I'm just going to give our audience the homework, you too as well, to go and just Google for yourself, because we try tried doing an episode on that. Don't mention it, will get a strike. We tried the episode. Okay, let me just say what happened. Wait. Atukunda, please answer the question. This one is taking us in a bad direction. We'll get let me just give the guys Google Bill Gates. Yeah. Before it does that thing that it normally does to creators.
Yeah. there's to give people a clue, there's one man that is literally trying to do a lot in terms of health, and this man is the same man that is in charge of developing, I'm not gonna say VCA, but I'm gonna say meds. You guys will understand, right? So that person is in Kenya and he's granted immunity to do whatever that he wants to do, and they literally they can't touch him. So a lot of you that are familiar with this, you probably know the person that we are talking about, and that's the person they are telling you to go and do research about.
Yeah, because that is the kind of thing we can't talk about because right now, because YouTube will do that thing, yeah. Right. And you know what he's doing in Kenya is also being done in America. It's why I'm telling you we are all connected. We all need to talk about these issues. But because we are a small channel compared to, because I've seen bigger channels covering some that, of them try to cover it. Not everybody, yeah, they don't get this strike from YouTube. Exactly, and we need to still create that awareness, more content, exactly, and awareness. So that is the homework we are leaving to you guys. If you're interested, you can go Google about it, because I've seen the same thing that is being done here in Kenya. It's actually being done in America, and it's not just the Black population. Right now, it's being practiced on everybody. So it's like they're testing the waters in Kenya. If it works, they take it over to America. Yeah, and this is why we do this content, because it's all connected, right? Right. So we'll pass it over to Natukuta so that she can also give us her point of view. What was the question again? Why we do if Black Americans? Oh, okay,
you guys were asking for what
yes.
can we do to bridge the gap.
What can we do to bridge the gap? I can say I'm very, very blessed when it comes to this area, that I am in a space already that is dedicated to bridging the gap. Check out Kenganda, ladies and gentlemen, because that is what entirely Kenganda is all about. When O'Shea started Kenganda, O'Shea Duke Jackson, when he started Kenganda, the motto of Kenganda is to bridge the gap between Africans and the diaspora. And not only with like bringing American stories to Africans, but also bringing African stories to Americans. And we use that medium of YouTube, yeah, at Kenganda. And as well, when it comes to dating, the Pan-African dating show that I host, me, all along in my life, I thought when people are searching for foreigners, they search for white people. Just when I joined the Pan-African dating show, still, Oshedium Jackson, he came up with that idea of, actually, how about I do a dating thing with it's only Black people? And it's funny because I was doing a TikTok live right now for the Pan-African dating show, and somebody asked me in the comment section, Esther, I'm looking for a white man. And I was like, girl, there are so many places and platforms on the internet out here to find white people, but you cannot find many of them that connect Black people. But the Pan-African dating show is one of them. Strictly Black, bridging the gap. So I think we should not underlook that, and also mediums like these. They are big steps. And I think importantly, I would just want to thank African Americans, because let me tell you, me, when I started my YouTube last year, when I started my YouTube, man, I didn't know where African Americans came from. So it gave me now seeing I have 7,000 people subscribing to my channel, and I see African Americans who are members on my channel. I'm like, so there are actually African Americans out there that are willing and open to hearing African voices. Right? I'm so happy about it, which also gasses me up to be like, let me make content about them. Let me look for information about them. When I go on TikTok, I follow them. On YouTube, I subscribe to their YouTube channels, and I watch what they say, what they eat, their lifestyles, what I learn from them. When they come to the continent, now I take it upon me. They have seen the bad treatment with the whites. They will not see it with me. When you come here, I will treat you better. Or else we're gonna keep the stereotype that Africans they will rob from you, they will treat you badly. So we have a responsibility to treat our brothers that come to Africa better.
That's nice. So give me a moment to
Well,
just thank thank you so much for the super thanks. We really appreciate you, right? And for those who are just joining in, thank you so much for joining our live. So today we are hosting Esther Natukunda from Uganda, who's also a content creator, and we are hosting Queen Penguin from Uganda, who's also a content creator. If you want to link up with them, please go to their channels and subscribe. I believe the channels are written on the screen above.
Right.
Yeah, so for those who want to get the name of their channels, yeah, so we are fixing our live. It's just gone off. Oh, thank you.
oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about
personally,
how we.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
personally, because we're still talking about bridging the gap, I think it is okay for
Right.
us to partake in each other's cultures. We as Africans
Mm,
are very good fan of hip hop and African American culture. We do it and partake in it
yeah.
without even knowing it's their culture, right? And I think it would be very
Mm,
nice for some of our brothers and sisters to partake in some of our cultures. If you do see an
mm,
African dress and it looks nice, wear it,
mm,
right? Like buy
mm,
it, support an African, right?
mm,
If you do see African music and people that you can collaborate with, and you are a creator in that, you are an artist, and you can give them a chance, work together with
mhm,
them. If you want to
mm,
do business with Africans, you understand, and you
mm,
want to know where to start from, the first thing is visit, come,
mm,
right? Come
mm,
and see how
mhm,
things are like. Now, Africa has a
mm,
lot of people that are waking up, that are understanding that we need to work together. And you find people like us that are speaking to this about these things. That's the reason as to why the twins said that make sure you have someone that you can link up with when you reach on the ground, so you don't get exploited and cheated on. Because there are people
mm,
that would
right.
like to take advantage of you. But I think
Mm,
I'm a child of God, and I always pray and ask God for
mm,
discernment. For those of you that want to do
mm,
business with anybody from anywhere else, ask for discernment, because God still speaks in 2024. I promise you on that. I don't know if you believe that or not. No, me, I believe it, that God still speaks and He can still disconnect you from the wrong people and give you the right people. So visit the continent, talk to people. Do
mm,
not do not be so closed off, because Africans are
mhm,
super curious people and super open-minded. When they notice you are
mhm,
new, like I do find a lot of African Americans that I've seen on Kengada, and when I meet them in
mhm,
a supermarket, I'll be like, "Hey, how are you doing? It looks like I've seen you from somewhere." "Oh yeah, from Kengada,
mhm,
right? How are you doing? How are you enjoying
mhm,
the country?" So I'm gonna approach you, right? And if I approach you,
mhm,
it's not because I want to get money from you.
mhm,
I want you to know
Yeah.
that it is coming from a very beautiful, genuine, lovely place, right? So partake in our cultures. If you find something African, educate yourself, just like some of us are trying to educate ourselves. Approach these topics and conversations that we are having with an open heart, that they are not coming
mhm,
from a place of we want to tap in the American audience, we want to get their money, we want to use them. Understand that we have a zeal to know the part of
mhm,
us that was broken from us.
mhm,
And that's for the people
mhm,
that believe that they are part of us, because I do understand there are those that don't want to claim us. And I think it is okay.
mhm,
We don't have a problem with that. You understand? It's very, very fine for you to claim whatever that you want to claim. We claim those that claim us. And for those that will
mhm,
join in later, because this is a movement, we are taking baby steps, right? So this is a movement.
right.
By the time it grows and it gets there and it has done magnificent things, you realize that a lot
Mhm,
of other people will come in and be like, okay, I belong here. You understand? Sometimes it's
yeah,
so hard to
yeah,
believe in a baby when they are making their first steps. You don't know if they are going to fall or they are going to, like make it to the other
mhm,
end, right? And you have every reason to
right.
doubt it. But I feel like we
Mhm,
do have a lot on our side than those that are
mhm,
against us. You understand?
mhm,
So Let's
Right.
approach these conversations. Let's talk to each other. You understand? If you find an African, if you find an African American or a Black Caribbean, oh my God, these are the people that we always forget, guys. I don't want us to forget them. Caribbeans, Brazilians, every Black person. Make sure that you try. Esther, go ahead.
Yeah. Right,
I
Esther.
just want to I just want to emphasize on what Gracie has said, that let's intermingle with each other's cultures and within each other. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but maybe it's me. Have you guys noticed that these days, even in Hollywood, we care so much? Like, it's more about Black people. Like, for example, the power of intermingling with each other. Let me give an example of Chris Brown. When Chris Brown opened himself to giving African artists a chance, I will say, because African artists never broke into Hollywood. You understand? They never broke into Hollywood. They never had categories or nothing. It was all these whites. But then Chris Brown, I will give Chris Brown as an example, because I think he was the first one that I saw. He did a song with Davido called "Na Na 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 Blow My Mind, oh my mind." From Chris Brown, I think Davido became the first African artist. I think they BET created something and another award show. And in the UK, they also created something for Africans as well. And then this is how we sit. Before I could sit on entertainment from 7 to 10 at night and see white people. I will see the Kardashians. I will see the Courtney McConaughey. I will see the. But now I can sit on I can sit in pop culture and whatever. I will see African celebrity celebrated in Hollywood. Ira Star, Tyler, Davido, Burna Boy. We are before it would be the whites that are coming to Africa. I tell you, I was tired of UB40. In Uganda, we were so done with UB40. Every year we were having UB40 in One Direction. But look at us now. We are having Dexter from Jamaica. Man, we are having artists that are even upcoming in the Caribbean coming to Uganda. I'm like, see, this is the power when we intermingle. Look at Chris Brown. Before the African stage was seen so like little, like so underlooked, Chris Brown sold out in South Africa in how many hours? See, we are literally taking the power from the people we used to glorify, because we just made one decision of trying to intermingle, learning one each other's culture. It has led to something. Now we're dominating places. So,
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I do believe like right now, I do thank social media because the power of using social media, because sometimes news can break, but sometimes you might even not hear it from mainstream media before you can get to hear it on social media, right? So I say it's definitely a step in the right direction. But for us,
most definitely right now with social media, because they can't control flow of information on social media like they do on mainstream media. I think it's the reason why each of Black people from various regions have started listening to each other's stories and struggles, and have started intermingling more.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, the best thing is that we just be patient with each other, patiently learn each other's culture, and respect each other's culture, right? And understand that we all come from different backgrounds, but there's one thing that we all have in common, and it is that we are all Black, and it doesn't matter wherever you go in the world, we are all gonna get the same treatment at the end of the day because of the color of our skin, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think we're about to wrap up the segment. Esther, unless you have a question, Gracie, if you have a question, and from our audience also, we'd like to take some questions before we close the live.
Yeah. Esther, do you have a question?
not yet.
So
Okay.
I wanna ask the Black people that are watching us from wherever you are watching us from. What do you think about the idea of coming to the motherland and visiting? Because I am that very big advocate for calling and inviting people to come to the motherland. what do you
Right.
think? Like,
Think
what do you feel if you come across African content creators like us inviting you? What comes to your mind? What do you feel in your spirit?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, let
That's
us know what do you feel about coming to the motherland, right? Like your honest opinions, because we are here to talk to you. We are here to address any concerns. And if also you wouldn't like to visit Africa, right? For some reason, we'd also like you to tell us, yeah? Would you like to visit the motherland? Is it like something you'd one day want to experience? There's a
Yeah,
comment I saw
I
about
think that is what I was gonna ask. Yeah, I would want to hear,
And
because let's not only be open to hearing the good things, but I think it's very important to have these uncomfortable conversations of facing these comments. Please bring the comments without filtering them, because we gotta hear it from y'all straightforward, so that we know, oh, okay. So it'll be open to conversations like this.
mhm.
okay.
I think
Maren, do you
because the reason as to why I asked this question is because uh, when I used to stream on TikTok, a lot of people wanted to come, but they had different views, and they would tell you it is super expensive. That is very far. Do you guys have this? Do you guys, where am I going to go? Because of course of the stereotypes, some people would be like, where am I gonna sleep and stuff like that. Of course, the theft, the insecurities. I want to know if we are at the same page in terms of when we are welcoming you, what we have in mind. I want to know if you guys have the same. Esther, go on.
On that note, me guys, I'm very judgmental. Black Americans, African Americans, Jamaicans, Black people everywhere. Me, I keep on judging you. I will stop judging you when I see you coming on the continent. You see this notion, me, I get this notion a lot from the diaspora, that you know what, because the white man engraved in us so much that Africa is poor, we will be sleeping outside on the streets. You have money to take it to Thailand. You go on a vacation in Thailand. Do you know how far Thailand is? You've been going down there in the Maldives, and you say Africa is far. I don't want to hear that excuse. Take a leap of faith. You see, us Africans, even if we don't have where to stay in America, we will come regardless. So please, I don't want to hear that excuse that no, we're here. Yeah, don't have that same internet where people used to come to the continent is the same internet you should use to come to the continent. Ah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so guys, I hope you've heard Esther Natukunda. She says she doesn't want to hear that excuse of Africa is far. If you can take a plane to the Maldives or Malaysia, you can plan one to land in Africa. Yeah, plan one to land somewhere in Africa. Yeah, and then you let us know about your experience here. Right. But over and above, we do normally say it's very tricky when you're going to a new place, right? So you really need to plan well and carefully. Make sure when you're going there, at least you have a plan. There's someone familiar you're going to be meeting with, who somebody you can trust, yeah. Because also you have to look at the security issues. Like if you come and you don't know anybody, literally, much as we're all black, a foreigner, you can be known by the locals there, yeah. Yeah, and especially when you start speaking, your accent will be a dead giveaway. Right. And I was thinking, by the way, this is very funny, Esther. You know, amongst the three of us, you're the person who has an accent similar or resembling an international accent. No, it's a South African accent. Somehow, right? Totally. It's a very confused accent, but the rest of us have very African accents, right? So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that for Black Americans, it's quite obvious when they start talking out like a sultan. Exactly. When they start talking, you hear that accent and you know immediately they're foreigners. And this is interesting because there's a friend of ours. We actually did an interview with them. They came to Kenya, right? They're still in Kenya. And we were telling them there's a tribe in Kenya called the Kamba tribe, and there's the other one called the Kisii tribe or Luo or Luya tribe. So the guy, the African Americans, we were telling them when African Americans come to Kenya, it is a ritual or it is a must for Kenyans to allocate them a tribe in Kenya, yeah, like where they'd come from if they were born in Kenya, yeah. So one of the Black Americans, the lady, we told her she looks like a Kamba, and everyone else she kept meeting told her the same. So if she hadn't spoken, people would think that she's a person from the Kamba land, you know, yeah. So we all look the same until we all start speaking, yeah. So guys, you're very much welcome. Those of you who can come and visit Africa, and hopefully moving forward we can be hosting lives where we are talking to also subscribers and Americans in Africa, specifically Black Americans in Africa, so that they can tell us their experience and everything, because this is how we start debunking, and this is how we start painting the true image of both places, both America and Africa, right? Yeah. So I think we are going to be ending the live here, and I thank Gracie wants to say something.
I just wanted to tell everybody that is watching, if you do have the zeal of coming, and if that time comes, I just want to say that take advantage of us. Let's take advantage of me, because I'm not going to charge you a penny to take you around or show you places. I feel like these, pages and channels that we have is something that can help you navigate through if you do not have anybody so far, right?
Yeah.
And especially if you do have good intentions, there are people that will come with intentions of probably maybe dating you, or just because we are seeing a lot of movements that are developing where some people want to connect with you because they want sex or stuff like that. I think for me, I would be out when it comes to that. But if you genuinely want to come and venture, I'm in Uganda, Esther is in Uganda, and we have a lot of other people that we know. If I am busy, I can literally link you to Esther, and Esther, does the navigation for you. So at least you feel welcome, because it can be overwhelming being in a new country where you don't know anybody, you don't know how the system works. So I think you do have some genuine souls over here. Again, pray about it. I urge you to pray about it, because you still find a lot of platforms that will sound genuine, right? I'm not trying to create a good name for myself. No, I am saying that even me, I may be a bad person and I'm here praising and doing all of this, all the talking. So I think pray about it, right? And if time comes and you feel like you want to come, you want to go to Kenya, reach out to the twins, because you are our people that support us. There's no way we can pay you back. And also there's that desire for us to connect with you. You understand? So it's the desire to connect with you, but also it's the desire to make you feel home, because this is home. But because you look like us, when you come here, people are not gonna notice that you are a visitor. You understand? So that's why that's if you don't open your mouth, right? But that's why you have to take advantage of people like us, so that at least they help you around with some things. You understand? And for those that are saying, oh, I was there and I left, I understand it. Sometimes things don't work out. Others have gone to Thailand and things have not worked. I think it works with everywhere you go. It can work or it cannot work. If it doesn't work, it does not mean the people of that country are bad. It does not mean that like everything is bad for you. They don't love you. They hate you. No, 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 no. It's because it just didn't work. That's the reason as to why it can fail to work here. But then when you go somewhere else, it is gonna work. So take advantage of us, of these platforms.
Right. So guys, I think we are going to end it there, and we are very, very thankful that you got to join us on our first live. Esther and Grace, you are very grateful that you got time to join us on this live, and hopefully this will be the first of many. Yeah. And guys, you can pass by their channels to follow them. They create very amazing content.
very educative content. Esther, I understand you also do dating shows. We've seen you on the international dating show, and I find like it's quite interesting. Like, what was the one dating show you ever did that maybe you connected foreigners that really stuck with you, and why did it stick with you? What was the most memorable episode? Right.
Recently, which month was it? I think it was in August. We had an African American man who came and married a girl in Kenya, and they met on one of the lands. Yes, I tell you, he was bragging his way up to one extent that he even brought his brother to the show. Like, guys, I'm not here to look, I'm just here to connect my brother because me, I got my African queen. And you know, these things we see them on the internet and we'll be like, oh, is it possible? Sometimes I also be doing the show and I'm like, oh, this one is joking, because I tell you, some of the African Americans we've connected ladies with, they will just come and have 5 of them at the same time and they promise them heaven and earth. But then that one that stood out for me, he was very genuine. The talking stage didn't last that month. They were talking, they met on the live. I think it was around uh, uh, February, March, and he visited Kenya in 3 months. Traditional wedding happened, and they even called us to the wedding in August. I was shocked. I was like, I might just as well find the love of my life on my show.
And do you guys do reunions where you get to talk to the couples who managed to stay together? Do you guys do the follow-up?
We have done 2 follow-ups so far. Recently, we did one on Penganda. There's a guy called Kyle. He came actually like to pay bride price, and we caught up with them ever since we met and yada yada. And then we did another one. Actually, he's in the country. Fresh the Legend is in the country. So we do. Yeah.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
All right, thank you so much. So I think we'll end the show there, right? Right. And to our audience, thank you so much for giving us your time. And we'll see you on our next episode or live, whichever will come first, right? Although I think it will be an episode. Right. So bye, guys.
Yeah. Thank
you so
you.
much, Twins, for the platform. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And thank you so much to everybody that has been watching us. And thank you so very much to you guys that watch our content. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. See you guys when I come to Kenya. I'm coming very soon.
Definitely.
Najua mimi Mkenya. I'm a fake Kenyan.
You know that's why he was ama ni hiyo tu.
Ndio.
You know, I'm always under the assumption that Ugandans don't know Swahili. Mnajua Kiswahili?
Hey,
Nilikuwa
mimi najua kidogo.
No, the reason why najua Swahili, nilikuwa naishi Mlango Kubwa.
Unajua Mlango Kubwa?
Mimi ni mjanja.
How would you rate your Swahili?
My Swahili, I'll give it a solid 6 to 7.
I'll give myself a 2.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's later. For those who are watching us, if it's morning, have a good morning, have a good day, have a good night. Okay, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.